Hey, Richard Bryce here, tennis hacker. This video is going to be a little bit different to some of my other videos because what I wanted to do was show you some points that I played earlier. Now, this is the first time that I've recorded myself playing points left-handed. As a reminder, for those of you that don't know, I'm naturally a right-handed player, but I injured my collarbone in a mountain bike crash, so now I'm transitioning over to playing left-handed. I've been working at it for about 2 years, just a little bit longer than 2 years. And up until very recently, I haven't really played any points. I've just been focusing on the technique. So I've got to a point where I'm comfortable on most of my shots. Slice backhand, I'm very happy with. Topspin backhand, I'm happy with. My forehand definitely took a little bit longer to kind of get used to, but I'm starting to feel more comfortable on it. My serve, I'm slowly working on. I had to wait quite a while to really work on my serve because I was having problems with my shoulder, so it took me a period of time to get my shoulder functioning well enough. So now I'm working on my serve, and that's coming along. Volleys are okay, so now that I've kind of got the foundations, I've started to play more points because my goal is to hopefully become a 5.0 player. The aim is to hopefully be able to do that by the end of kind of next season, to win enough matches, tournaments next season to make that happen, and then eventually, hopefully, go on and start competing on the Seniors ITF Tour. So it's going okay. It's come a long way. I'm making progress. So now it's time to start playing points, getting experience about the different patterns and what I need to do. So I'm going to show you some points that I played today with a guy in the area who's one of the better 4.5 players. It's the first time that we've hit together. We mostly drilled, but we played a couple of 11s towards the end, and I'm going to show you one of the 11s. If you don't know what that is, it's just feeding the ball out of hand, so not serving, just feeding it in. You have to do a fair feed, you have to do a fair first ball, and then, after that, anything else goes. First to 11 points. So let's take a look, and I'll point out some of the things that I did okay and some of the things that I didn't do quite so well, and talk about what I really need to work on to improve from where I am now to get to where I want to be. That one was just too good by my opponent. Maybe I could have hit my backhand a little bit deeper, but that was a great shot by him. I'm 2-1 up, but I'm definitely not happy with the intensity of my footwork. Obviously, this is the first time that I've recorded myself playing points left-handed, so I didn't know what it was going to be like watching it back, and yeah, I've definitely got to work on the intensity of my footwork, the recovery after my shots. So yeah, it's okay when I'm moving towards the ball, but I'm just not working hard enough after the easier shots. A little bit of a gift there from my opponent. But then he got that back with a wonderful winner. That's an example of the sort of thing that I need to cut out. It was a simple ball, my footwork just wasn't quite good enough, and because of that I made a silly error. So what I want to point out here is I'm 8-5 up and I haven't done anything spectacular yet. My opponent has hit more winners, but he's also hit way more unforced errors, so that's why I'm in the lead. I've just kept it fairly consistent. Another great shot by my opponent. I remember at the time when he hit that one, I was thinking about calling it out. I looked at the line, I didn't call it out, but then I watched it back on video and it was definitely in. So I'm glad I didn't call it out.
Basic stuff, 8-hole.
Yeah, you heard my thoughts on that one. That was basic. That was poor quality footwork. I didn't create enough space, and that's why I made the silly error. That was a nicer point by me. My opponent actually played a really good point, but I hung in well and waited for the opportunity, and when I got it, took it nicely. That was another nice point by my opponent. He had me on a bit of a string, dragging me around the court there. You'll notice it went a little bit quiet because there might have been some choice words that came out of my mouth after he lobbed me. Okay, and then it finishes up 12-10 to me, and I'm relatively happy with how it went at the end. Not necessarily the score, obviously I wanted to win, but the way I finished, because I was 10-8 up, my opponent played a great point, and then I made a silly error, but I managed to keep it together, stay consistent, and allowed my opponent to miss his shots, and that's why I ended up winning. And that's the way it works a lot of the time at the 4-5 level. You'll see that my opponent was hitting better shots than me. He hit more winners. I don't think I really hit any winners other than that short ball that I passed him on the backhand. No winners from me. I was just staying consistent. He was going for his shots. He made more errors, and that's why I won. But what I definitely need to work on is going to be the intensity of my footwork. As I mentioned at the start of the video, it was evident right from the off. After I'd played the relatively easy balls, instead of being more intense and constantly having my feet moving, I was just a little bit sloppy, and because of that, I was making a few too many unforced errors, and that's something that I can't afford to do if I want to be able to play at a higher level. So I'm going to be doubling down, working hard on my footwork. Now, there was a lot of bad bounces on this court, especially on my forehand side when the ball was hitting short. It's not a court that I'm used to playing on, so the surface was a little bit different, but there was definitely some funky bounces. So I need to find a way to adapt to that. So I've got an idea of some footwork drills that I'm going to create and work on to help with those short forehands, because you could see I was reaching quite a few times. So I've got some ideas of how I'm going to train that, and once I've worked on them, I'll make a video and I'll upload that to YouTube so you can see what I'm working on. But if you'd like to see the footwork that I normally work on, I've got a free program to help you with that side of things. I'll place a link up there, and I'll place a link down in the description so you can grab hold of it. It's going to show you a routine that I do fairly regularly to help program in specific footwork patterns, and it's normally pretty useful for players, so that's available to you if you want it. So that's my thoughts on today's training session. It's hard to have too many expectations. You know, I came off a little bit frustrated, but then I had to logically remind myself, look, you're playing with your left-handed, you're playing against a good 4.5 player that plays tournaments. You've got to be sensible, you've got to keep perspective, you've got to keep, you know, be encouraged by the things that you're doing well. At the end of the day, this is how tennis works. Every match isn't going to look like Federer or Alcaraz. That's not how tennis works. You've got to do the best that you can in a situation, try and stay mentally strong. So I think I did that okay in the end. So taking the good things from that and moving forwards. If you've got any questions about this or any comments and you want to tear my tennis apart, I would love you to leave comments down below. If you've enjoyed this style of video, let me know that as well, and I will try and record more of my match play or point play and kind of talk you through how I think about it. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel before, it is much appreciated if you could do that, because it really helps me out in the algorithm and helps me get the information to more people. Okay, I'll catch you next time.